Hello, hello, and welcome. Welcome back to Space Engineers on the Xbox, on the Series X, and we are go for launch, as they say. Yep, Space Engineers is now on Xbox Game Pass, which means if you've been waiting to dive into this game, wondering what it was all about, and thinking maybe you should give it a go, now's your chance. What is Space Engineers? Well, Space Engineers is a constantly evolving sandbox engineering, building, and exploration game. Though the exploration in Space Engineers is something that I've always said needs to be actively worked on. Maybe Keen are working on it. Who knows? I'm not privy to their inner workings, although I do have a relationship with Keen Software House. I've been on their live streams and I've been doing Xbox content for the game for nearly 4 years. As of April the 15th this year, I think it will be 4 years. Anyway, you've just grabbed it. So you're met with this screen. Now you'll see here underneath the Space Engineers name are all the DLCs I own. All those icons are all the DLCs. Depending which version you have some, you may have the base ones, or you may have all of them. I'm not going to go through and list all of them. You can do that by looking in the Microsoft Store and seeing what DLCs are available. I do recommend getting the DLCs because they add lots of nice block options for your headquarters and your ship builds in general, and just lots of nice quality of life things to the actual building of the game. They are not pay to win. Keen Software doesn't do pay to win. This is all cosmetic stuff. So, for instance, your battery, you can have the Warfare battery from the Warfare DLC and it will look cool. But doesn't matter if you don't. It'll still function the same way a vanilla battery does. Anyway, this is all about a new start to the game for 2024. Since we've got lots of new players rolling in on the PlayStation and the Xbox via Game Pass, I thought it would be great to dive back into the game right from the start and take you through what to expect when you first boot up Space Engineers and when you start looking at the game, because a lot of people try to run before they can walk with the game and end up in trouble. Do not really jump onto any of the servers before you've played a few solo games and got the hang of it, because you will get outclassed and outgunned very quickly. You may not have a great time. If you've got some friends and you've got some friends on the servers who can invite you into their faction and can give you a leg up in the game, then by all means. But I would stay away for now from the join game button at the moment, just because. However, that said, we're going to look at options. When we pop open options, I want you to open game and I want you to look down. Ignore the UI, leave it as it is. But you'll see that we have a few interesting radio buttons. These things here. For a start, what you're going to have to do if you want to use mods. One, you're going to need to enable experimental mode, and when you click on it, that will fill in with the square like that. Then you need to press X afterwards, otherwise it won't save any of the settings. It's no good just clicking A and then pressing back, because it will reset that screen to its default or its last iteration of the buttons you've selected. So you need to press X. The same goes down here. You need to agree to the GDPR, and you'll also need this here. That is really important. If we click on it, it will tell you that you need to agree to the terms of use of Mod.io. This is how Xbox players get, and PlayStation players, console players, get mods. We don't use the Steam Workshop, we use Mod.io. By pressing X on this screen, you agree, and then press X again to go back to the options. This will let you use mods in the game. Experimental mode is needed for mods, but also experimental mode is needed for some of the more experimental features. You'll hear me talk about shear inertia tensor, the thing that stiffens pistons and so on, that stop drills wobbling and breaking to pieces through the power of Clang phantom forces in the game engine. With this enabled, you can enable settings like that on pistons and rotors and so on. Without it, you won't be able to use any of those. So again, make sure that's selected and press X on it, so we're definitely there. But that is really all I wanted to talk about in terms of that. In audio wise, I always ensure that speed based ship sounds is unticked, and this is going to give you a better sound through your headset or your surround sound speakers when you select the option to use it in the game. But you've got Space Engineers now. I've gone through the options menu. What about a new game? So we're going to go into a new game and we're going to look. The new game screen will open up, and right from the start we have Red Ship. If we move to the left all the way here, you'll have the first jump. These are scenarios created by Keen to ease you into the game. I do recommend having a go with them. The first jump scenario is fairly good at teaching you the basics of controlling the character, and it has a little bit of a story, and you can basically learn the game at your own pace. Learning to Survive is the one you'll put on after you've played through the first jump series of missions. This one is basically your own pace. You start off in space and you can explore a little outpost, go through the various challenges. It's alright. It's a good grounding again to get used to the game. It is in survival mode though, so it will basically use all the rules of power and life support and oxygen you'll need to get to grips with. Frostbite is a scenario that I have, and Frostbite is pretty cool. That's a story-based scenario. You can get it from the DLC. Scrap Race, Ignore, Never Surrender, Endless Waves of Drones. Red Ship is a creative map letting you play around with concepts of Space Engineers in a small sandbox environment of an asteroid station. Then your workshop is where you'll open up to get your different new scenarios and maps created by the community, depending. Again, we are not able to use some of them because they require hefty scripting, and we can't really use scripts on the Xbox. We can only have server-side scripting, and that requires a dedicated server. Won't work on a hosted multiplayer game or a solo game. And then your custom is where you can open this and you can see from scenarios, workshop and custom game where you can open up your own map. So for instance, if we select home system, this is the most popular one that I tend to use. Home system is Earth-like planet, Mars, and I believe the Moon. I think that's correct. And then you've got various other custom games. But when you enter a custom game, this is where all the settings can be found. And this is where we can start to look at adding mods, if we have mods downloaded. I'll do a separate video on mods, but to explain it briefly, all you need to do is make sure you have your chosen world, press the mods button, the 3 lines, and it will open up the mod screen, and you'll see all the mods I have downloaded. So let's just say we wanted to add a new skybox. I have Queen of Heaven skybox, so we press A on that, and then we press X to lock it in, and Queen of Heaven is now going to be on our mod list when we load in the home system. We can then have a choice between survival and creative, online or offline, whether it's auto saving or not. I tend to turn auto save off, but you can leave it on if you want. You can change the name so it's easier to find in your list of save games. And then you can alter a lot of parameters here. And this, again, is one of the more expansive systems in the game. So if we press Y now, you will see a lot of things. For a start, you can adjust the character's inventory size. It goes from 3 times realistic to 10. Same with block inventory sizes. Now, the more you mess around with this, especially block inventory sizes, the more mass your ship will have when you build one. So, for instance, if you put all your inventories up to times 10, you'll be able to store times 10 the resources in boxes, but that will give you more mass because it will add significant weight to the ship. You can increase the multiplier of all assemblers from 3 to 10, the speed of all refineries, the welder and your hand welder, your grinder, your environmental hostility. I don't recommend changing this at all until you're familiar with the game. I'd leave it on safe. I would not go for normal or cataclysmic amounts of meteors. Leave this set as it is. Sound mode, remember, in the options for sound, we changed it to use realistic speed sounds. So if you change this to realistic now, that will kick in the realistic sound system with the option we chose in audio. Leave all this as is. You can enable sun rotation. I tend to, these days, because I've been playing for a while, change it from 2 hours to a day. That's up to you. Max objects you leave as is. Animal NPC limit leave as is. Max ship size, ignore all of this to begin with. Now, PCU. This is basically the amount of performance cost in the world that every placed block uses. It starts off at 100,000 PCU on Xbox Series X and probably PlayStation 5. I don't have a PS5, so I couldn't tell you. However, we can push it all the way to 500,000. This will allow you to build far more and allow your friends, if they're in your game, to build far more. Backup saves, max backup saves of 5. Ignore the optimal spawn distance because we're not actually playing a multiplayer game. If you're playing a multiplayer game, you probably want to look at my videos on how to set one up, and you'll want that to the lowest setting. Then we have a whole host of things here, like auto healing, spectator, player names, thruster damage, permanent death, weapons enabled, cargo ships. If you want things to fly through space from time to time that you can attack or can attack you, then cargo ships, destructible blocks, all of this. Take some time to have a look through it yourself. leave all of this pretty much as it is. You want random encounters on because then you'll see abandoned ships and stations. We've got drones if you want wolves on planets for extra things to shoot at and to attack you. The same with spiders. They'll spawn on Pertum, on I think the alien planet. Drones you definitely want on because why not? You also, to begin with, you can choose to have progression on or not. If you've been playing a while, a lot of us tend to turn progression off because we've done it all before and we just want to land on the planet and start building whatever we want from without having to basically learn the blueprint by breaking something down or building a thing in a chain of things. So that's up to you. Auto respawn, I tend to turn this off so that I can choose where to respawn if I've got multiple cryopods or survival kits or whatever. That's up to you again. The economy system, well worth keeping on, and bounty contracts for later on. Weather, again, again, up to you. If you're on Pertum, you can, if you want, have the weather on, but you will have a heck of a time trying to survive because the lightning storms on Pertum are absolutely deadly and they will attack your base and they will attack your vehicles and they will wreck everything. So if you're just starting out, you might want to turn the weather system off for the time being, just so you have a little easier time of it. Then we have enabling aim assist. Probably a good idea if playing on controller, like me. And then when you've selected all the things you like, just press X. And that will lock in the settings again. And so from this point on, all you have to do is choose whether or not you want to play in creative or whether or not you want to play in survival. Now, it is possible to play survival mode and have creative mode tools on. I've got videos on how to do this and so on, but I will be with the brand new 2024 start of Space Engineers going through a lot of this as I use it in game. So look out for those videos that are coming up. I'm going to do a right from the start game on the home system wherever we land, and I'll show you how, if you desire a different landing spot, to change it. But that will come in a separate video because I don't want to bog you down with all too much information at once. This has been a quick, fairly comprehensive look at Space Engineers menu screens and how to sort of get going. And as I said, all you need to do next is press X to start. It will load in your map, start you off like so. And while I won't go 100% into this, I'll just show you what to expect. You'll see underneath the spinning icon, you'll see a loading percentage. And now we are given a choice. So you can spawn in your spacesuit if you so desire. I don't recommend this for starting off. It is going to put you in space with nothing except your suit and dwindling oxygen. Your space pod, then a Mars drop pod, a Moon drop pod, and the Earthlight drop pod. My suggestion is to go for Earthlight drop pod and press A. It will now drop you in on the planet in your pod. You can, if you so desire, change the camera to see more clearly where you're going to land. So hold down the right bumper, tap up on the D-pad, and you'll see an exterior view of the pod. To manipulate the camera, hold both bumpers. Sorry, not both bumpers. That's to zoom it in and out. The right bumper and the right stick lets you look around. And for once, I think the pod is going to land fairly safely. So we're down and we are done. If we don't like this particular start, don't worry. there is a way to get a different start. Best way to do it, hold down the right bumper, tap Y, go from admin tools, come down to the replay tool and choose reload world. Press A. It will unload this world. It will look for mod updates. That's the other thing, because we're using the Queen of Heaven skybox. It will download the mod when it's loading the game the first time, and it will look for updates again. And then we just click on Earthlight Drop Pod again, and it will choose us another random starting point. Once we have control of the camera again, right bumper up, both bumpers, left stick, zoom in and out, right bumper, right stick, choose the angle. You cannot control the pod as it comes down, so it has a habit sometimes, if it lands on an incline and it lands hard, of bouncing and rolling. Again, it's done a fairly good job. And there we are. We are down on the ground. And what we can do here is we can look around while we're in the safety of the pod. I said this is going to link in nicely to the new video, which will be the 2024 How to Start Space Engineers, following on from this one. So I'm going to leave it on this one. I'm actually going to save it by holding down both bumpers, tapping X and pressing A. This will quick save. We can also press the start and then we can save and save as. And if we exit to the main menu, we can save changes before we quit. So press A and we are sorted. And that is that. That's how we can start a new game. But this is also a quick look at the options and features and how to customize a game right from the get-go on Space Engineers in 2024. Like I said, I decided to redo basically my new player guides to give an efficient start to your game on the home system, which you can then take forward and, expand yourself, build a bigger base, build a better base. Until then, though, stay safe, take care, have fun, enjoy the game, reach out on the Facebook group, which is linked in the description, and feel free to jump in on the Discord as well, which I'll also leave in the description, and ask any questions on my community tab. I will do my best to answer. As always, I will say that I don't answer server related questions because I don't tend to play online. I don't have a server and so on. But yeah, stay safe, take care, have fun, happy engineering. Welcome to the game. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.